My name is Bart Jaworski. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Group 11 Resources. I'm a geologist. I'm an ex-mining analyst, 25 years in the industry. Started this company 10 years ago, and our vision at that point was, let's try to find the next big zinc deposit in this prolific Irish ore field. The good news is that we have made a discovery. It only took us 7 years, 100 drill holes, $20 million, but we did get there. It is now considered the most significant mineral discovery in Ireland in over a decade. It's called Ballywire, and it's 3 years in the tooth now, so we've been drilling it now. We have 59 holes into it or so, 20,000 meters, 2.6 kilometers of strike. The metal suite is zinc lead, as you would expect in Ireland, but also very high-grade silver relative to our peers within the country. We're talking up to 3,800 grams per ton in some intersections. We're getting a lot of copper, especially in the northeast, as I'll show you. Germanium, which is an AI metal, interesting AI chip metal, which has just gone through the roof actually in terms of pricing because there's no supply left. China's turned off the taps. That's a really interesting metal to look forward. So we have a lot of germanium in with our zinc, and locally a little bit of antimony, which we're not really talking too much about. The other thing you guys should know about us is that we're Glencore and Michael Gentile owned, so both neck and neck at 14%. A bit of a trifecta in our relationship with Glencore in that they're our next door neighbor, largest shareholder, and they sit on the board. And likewise with Michael, he's put $3.1 million personally into the company over the last 4 or 5 years. And last year, very happy to report he's actually stepped onto the board, which is absolutely fantastic. I love having Mike on the board. The other two questions that I often get asked here is what's the cash, what's the market cap? So we're at 8.4 million. Thanks to Cormark's 5.75 million bought deal that we just closed July 31st. That really puts us into a very nice, healthy cash position, gives us 25,000 meters of drilling over the next 18 months to really attack the Ballywire discovery with. And like Brian mentioned, we're about 100 million market cap. A little bit about the team. So Michael Gentile, there's top right. Again, he's a portfolio manager by trade, small cap mining investor. Personally, Glencore's appointee is bottom left there, Franz Bullman. We also have Dan McInnes, who's a geologist and ex-Mag Silver. Myself, geologist, cap markets. Brendan Cahill is a lawyer and ingratiated with the mining Irish circles. Alessandro Batelli is a chartered accountant associated with the Lundin Group of companies. And I should say Franz is a finance guy based out of Spain as well. Jasmine is our CFO in Vancouver. David Furlong is the one I started the company with. So David and I are really the bones of the company day to day for the last 10 years. And then Mark Holdstock is actually famous in Ireland for having discovered part of the largest zinc deposit in the country. So he helped discover 20 million tons of Tara, or Navan as it's otherwise known. So he's responsible for the last 20 years of production there. So where are we in the country? We're right here in the yellow circle. We're on the Rathdowney Trend, which also hosts the Lachine, the Galmoy deposits up the road. And we're only 20 clicks away from Glencore's Palace Green deposit, which is one of the largest undeveloped zinc deposits in the world, which I'll show you in a second. And I'm just about to focus in on that yellow circle there. But before I do, I just want to mention that Ireland got #1 on the Fraser in terms of the Policy Perception Index as part of the Fraser's latest mining survey. So that's really important. And also the key differentiator of Ireland is that not only do we have world-class rocks there, but we have the infrastructure, and that's so key for base metal projects. If you don't have infrastructure, you're not going to get developed. It's just very, very simple. So you need that infrastructure, and Ireland has a lot of it, along with the stable politics and the good mining code, as you can see there from the Fraser. So I'm just going to jump into that yellow circle. And basically, this is the Limerick area. The first thing to mention is Glencore is everything you see in blue, and South 32 is everything in yellow, so we have nice neighbors. We are, everything you see in green is our ground there, 78% to 100% positions. And the Ballywire discovery is not only on the Rathdowney Trend, but it's also on a second trend called the Palace Green Corridor. So structurally, it's a very interesting area. And like I mentioned, only 20 kilometers away from Glencore's Palace Green deposit. And then we also have a nearby next door deposit called Stone Park, which we often don't really talk about, but that's 5 million tons, 11.3% zinc lead. It's smaller, but shallower and richer than our neighbor, and therefore it's of strategic value, because that's probably where you'd want to start if you're going to mine the whole thing together. So we also have this Palace Green lookalike on the south side of this Limerick volcanic complex. I wish I could talk about it here, but there's no time, so I'm just going to focus in on the actual discovery that we have made in that yellow box. So I'm going to jump into that box. And basically, this is as it was back in '97. So these guys nearly made this discovery all the way back then. They hit 2.5 meters of 6%, half a meter slug of massive sulfide running 20%, but they kind of lost it as they went the other way. They drilled 2 more holes, but unfortunately they were smoke, no fire. got wiped out by the great financial crisis. And then basically we came along many years later, 2016, and we drilled our first hole, and we got smoke bordering on fire, 3 zones of about 3 meters, about 4%. Not too shabby. We were pretty excited by that. It's probably our best hole to date at that point since its inception. We came back at the next opportunity and we drilled here, and this is the first time we actually got a little bit of fire. 3 meters of 12% with 50 grams per ton. Also hitting a half-meter slug of massive sulfide, which ran 25%, which we thought was very interesting because it's a kilometer away from that hole in 97, which also hit a half-meter slug of massive sulfide. So we thought, wow, wonder if it's all connected. So let's step out 300 to 400 meters in all direction, get the lay of the land. So the first hole actually got a little bit of mineral, but not much. The second hole, much the same. The third hole got a bit better, and then on the fourth hole, bang, our discovery hole. So this is a 60-meter zone of mineralization, 10 meters of 10% and 100 grams per ton silver, which has become very typical for us along our kilometer and a half of drilling to date, or over 2.6 kilometers overall. So 10 meters of 10%, and included in that was about 2 meters of 41% zinc and lead, and on nearly 400 grams per ton silver. So that's a fantastic, hands down discovery hole. The only question then is this just a flash in the pants? Because that's always the fear. You step out and it's gone. So luckily we drilled all up and down the dip. Every single hole hits either massive sulfide or high grade. And the best hole was actually a 60-meter step out to the east. It got another 10 meters of 9% with 50 grams. So then we tested the trend again. We stepped out 80 meters, and sure enough, we got one of the best holes ever, 18 meters at 10%. Not 100 grams now, but 250 grams per ton silver, and a little bit of copper showing up. And then we really went for it. We drilled 5 holes. Every single hole hit very nice grades. For example, 10 meters of 8 with good silver, 3 meters of 8 with good silver, 5 meters of 12, and 11 meters of 9, all with good silver numbers. So those were really, really fantastic. The other thing we started to recognize at this stage was, this is a well-behaved system. It's all in one horizon. It's not all over the place like you have with some other discoveries that could be faulted or folded, or different horizons, different orientations. So obviously, stepping out and hitting has been great. Mineability in future, that's much better to have in one layer. And then to get to maiden MRE, we shouldn't have to pin cushion it with drilling to get there. So that's all good. 700 meters of strike at this stage. So back to here, that was that 700 meters. We ran gravity, found an anomaly over top of our discovery, but very interestingly, an anomaly on either side of us that hadn't been drilled yet. Very interesting. So then we lined up our massive sulfides, projected it, and that really gave us the wherewithal to step out in a big way. So with 2 rigs, one 930 meters away and a second rig 530 meters away, bit of a nail biter, I have to be honest. Big step outs, but here we got basically 5 meters of 5% with half an ounce, not too shabby. So we were very happy with that. And then here we got actually some of the best silver numbers ever achieved in Ireland over the last 60 years, up to 1,400 grams per ton silver and up to almost 6% copper, which we basically knew meant only one thing, that we're within the feeder. And if we're within the feeder, we're very close to massive sulfide, which we proved up later on with further drilling. But the gist of this slide is basically now we're talking about 2.6 kilometers of pierced, robust mineralization. So that puts us into the same realm as some of the greats within Ireland, like Silvermines, Galmore, or Lachine. So at this point, I'll skip 1.5 years forward and just show you the progress we've made since that time. So that whole red area that you see there, which is massive sulfide, we made a lot of progress over the last 18 months or so. Some of the notable hits were 30 meters of 10% with good silver, 15 meters of 12, 9 meters of 23%, etc. And that really led us to a really big hit that actually Brian mentioned, 40 meters of 9% with really good silver, and then this copper hit of 6 meters of nearly 1,000 grams per ton and nearly 4% copper, which I'll zoom in on with a cross section. So we're getting the red zones there, that's the zinc and the lead. We stepped out, we got 130 meters of mineralization here, and we started getting that green layer at the bottom. That's the copper silver. And then this is the hole that really did it for us in May, and we got a phenomenal 6-meter hit there of nearly 1,000 grams per ton and 4% copper. And that is interesting, plus some antimony in there as well, and a good bit of zinc as well. But why that's interesting is if you zoom out and look at the big picture, about 100 to 200 meters below us should be something called the Lower Limestone Shale, which is known to be receptive for copper, silver in this area of Ireland, and only in this part of Ireland. We're kind of in a mini copper belt within the country. So as it turns out, we actually did hit the Lower Limestone Shale. We only announced this on Monday. That was the drill hole. And basically, that's the copper that we hit, because that's the question. Did we hit the copper? Yes, indeed, we did. And I don't have time to go through all the hits, but believe me, this was the main one, over 60 meters, intermittent mineralization. I guess the crux of that one was a 5-meter zone, half an ounce of silver, about 0.7 copper, and 0.1 antimony included, was 2.5 meters roughly, of up to 1% copper and 0.14 antimony in there as well. So there's a lot more to go there. This is the first salvo into that test. And basically, we're drilling up and down dip, and we're going to be drilling all across that strike that we have of 2.6 kilometers, because we have copper all the way through already. And the big picture is we have a 6-kilometer trend defined by 4 gravity high anomalies, only one of which is basically the C anomalies, where the whole everything I've just talked about is on one of those anomalies, the C anomaly. So we're only 25% of the way through, and obviously we have a lot more to go. So thanks very much. I'll leave it there.